Hi, my name is Robert and I've been invited to present a review for 13th Note Hi-Fi. I would like to thank Simon for his invitation, help and support. I'll be reviewing the Volumio Rivo, which is a music player transport, and there is no DAC or analog output, and the intention for a design like this is to concentrate and maximise performance in audio streaming. You can connect this device to your existing DAC, which has its advantages. For example, if you really own a really good DAC and, like me, want to connect all your digital sources to it, it simplifies the source management and consistency in sound. Unlike most streamers, you're not stuck with an inbuilt DAC that would be made redundant if you later decide to upgrade to an external DAC. The unit is priced here in the UK at £849 and can be purchased directly from Volumio. The price includes shipping and import taxes, and prices are listed depending on your country when purchasing, so reassuring you won't be hit with unwelcome financial surprises after shipping. Volumio offers 24/7 support and is prompt to answer any questions or concerns you may have. Volumio started off as a project in 2013 as an audio software platform designer for the Raspberry Pi miniature computer model. They saw the potential for these emerging miniature computers and developed a minimal audio-orientated Linux standalone player which was distributed and called Raspberry Pi, and so the journey began. Volumio's philosophy was to have a complete standalone music player streamer server without being hooked to or relying on a computer or laptop, and over the years they have turned this into a full-time commitment and has produced some very interesting products built in-house in Italy. You could say that Volumio has put the standalone music streamer player on the map, and many companies today are following suit and develop their own music streamers and all-in-one solutions. Unlike many other streaming products, Volumio's software platform can be downloaded for free. It's open source and there are versions for both Linux and PC, and typically run on small computers like Raspberry Pi, and allows you to try out the software app. If you like the software, you have the option for a few pounds or euros a month to join a subscription to unlock its advanced features. These advanced features include, for example, native Qobuz and Tidal integration, CD playback and ripping, automatic remote connection of up to 6 devices and multi-room sync playback, and many others. By the way, these advanced features are included without additional cost to all Volumio hardware devices, so please check their website for a list of features as they are continually updated. There are a few other companies out there too, like Croon, that offer music management and so on, but as a complete all-in-one, Volumio hardware products are a very elegant solution for both sound and lifestyle. The specs offered are as follows. The USB outputs to PCM 768 kHz at 32-bit and DSD 256. SPDIF and AES EBU outputs to a maximum of PCM 192 kHz at 24-bit. The Volumio AES SPDIF digital outputs offers galvanic isolation, utilising high-purity oxygen-free copper cores. Oh, and let's not forget the high-precision femto clock for its USB digital output with power filtering. This really is the stuff for hi-fi geeks like me. But you try to find anything out there with this level of engineering at this price, it's difficult. To me at least, it's reassuring to know that Volumio has concentrated on engineering architecture and quality of components to add real value rather than an infinite feature selection novelty that soon wears off. Because this device does not have an inbuilt screen or display, they have provided a HDMI video port that allows connection to a TV or monitor and will display the user interface. By adding a keyboard and mouse connected the old school way to its additional USB inputs, you can navigate its menus and features. Just like many other streamers, there's a smartphone app you can download to remotely control the Volumio. The smartphone app is uncluttered, easy to use, and gives you all the necessary features and controls in a friendly monochromatic GUI interface mirrored to its HDMI video output. I found this HDMI feature really good if you like seeing the artwork in all its glory on a large monitor. The video HDMI output resolution can handle up to 4K 60 frames per second. For connecting to the internet, you have both LAN, Gigabit Ethernet and wireless Wi-Fi. The device also caters for Bluetooth. Supported formats are DSD, WAV, FLAC, MP3 and many others. There's a SD card slot and an additional 2 USB ports for connecting external hard drives, USB sticks, CD-ROM drives, or like me, connecting a keyboard and mouse. It also supports UPnP DLNA to connect network-attached storage devices, providing they're on the same network. Supported services are AirPlay via SharePort Sync, Spotify, Spotify Connect, Tidal, Tidal Connect, Qobuz, etc. In addition to these services, you can add or install what they call plugins, which are add-on services like YouTube, Squeezelight, Radio Paradise, Roombridge, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, and so on. The device itself is very well made, has that cool lifestyle contemporary look, elegant and not too intrusive, typical of minimalist designs from Italy. The majority of the casework is of die-cast aluminium. The front face has a beautiful red-orange button that shows power status, and that's it. It doesn't come with a remote control, but in my experience, you show me a remote control that can do a streamer any justice with the feature set and navigational control it deserves. In my opinion, a remote control is frustrating at best. You need a full-blown app on a touchscreen device like a smartphone in the comfort of your chair to really enjoy the user experience. There's no front panel display, although nice to have, and not much good if you're sitting 3 to 4 meters away squinting to read track information and artwork. This is why I quite like the HDMI output connecting to a monitor. For this review, I'll be using speakers I've built myself. They contain very expensive drivers which are matched within 1 dB for the mid-bass units and 0.7 dB for the Mondorf AMT tweeters. The cabinets are thick one-piece cast aluminium with internal bracing and vibrational control damping. The crossovers have been finely tailored after many months of electrically and acoustically testing REW and a calibrated mic. The frequency response for 200 Hz to 20 kHz is within plus or minus 2 dB worst case, and the frequency response goes down to 40 Hz in this room. These AMTs sound so different from domes. Domes are good, they go lower and handle more power, but have a tendency to sound a little shut in and forced by comparison, most likely as a result of high mass when compared to AMTs. Some of these exotic types suffer from large high frequency peaking, which is typically a result of pushing breakup nodes and resonances higher up the scale, but still fall within the audio band. I found that these can sound quite open and airy at first, but soon become irritating. I've listened to many a dome and find they can't compete with good quality AMTs with regards to speed, transparency and distortion. The amplifier is a 1980s power-hungry, extremely heavy Audio Research D115 Mark II tube amplifier. Cabling are from Megami, Van Dam and Van Den Haal. The DAC I use is the RME ADI2 Pro SE. To power the Volumio, I used its supplied wallwork type, but favoured my Alashanti power supply, which showed a minor but significant improvement. Like the RME, I found the addition of a linear power supply that shows very little improvements, unlike some other DACs out there, tells me that the Volumio, like the RME, has paid close attention to onboard power supply filtering and so on, so less dependent on external power supply quality, providing there is enough current, of course. The output of the Volumio was connected to my RME, and for comparison I compared it to the Eversolo's DMP-A6, utilising only its digital outputs connected to the same RME and switching between the two streamers via the RME input selector. Using various input and output options, I wanted to determine if the Volumio favoured a particular connection or format. AES and SPDIF were very consistent with each other. However, I much prefer the Volumio's USB output, maybe because it's not limited to its 192 kHz 24-bit synchronous protocol. For the sound test, I played music using various formats, streaming services and devices. Connections to the internet were from both Wi-Fi and Ethernet, and I couldn't detect any differences here. I also used the CD-ROM drive to play CDs and a USB stick to play high-res PCM audio. Some of the albums I listened to are Lorde from the album Pure Heroin, Portishead from the album Portishead, Air and the album Premier Symptoms, 07 and the album Simple Things, Madonna, the album Ray of Light, and a track I always use is Frozen. It's a down-tempo electronica ballad which has layered sound enhanced by synthesizers and strings. I find this really good for depth layering tests. Michael Jackson Thriller, recorded high-res from vinyl. A track I use, of course, is Thriller, a test for left and right panning consistency. There's another track that's really good for this, and it's Simply Red from the album Life, and the track We're in This Together. The panning of the toms and the space around them is a really good indicator of precise stereo placement. For classics, I use Sheku Kenny Mason and from Elgar, Cello Concerto. You've got to remember that this is a digital device only, and its job is to extract the digital audio signal and present to a DAC without any interference. So no internal DAC or analog output, and so very difficult to assess on its own, because partnering with different external DACs will no doubt influence the overall sound more than the streamer itself, or so I thought. My assessment lasted a few weeks, and in terms of sound quality, the Volumio does a really good job. It's refined, smooth, and the presentation is neutral and transparent. Nothing here is sterile, cold, or bright, which I've heard can be analogous to Sabre DACs when compared to AKMs. I'm not convinced with that. I've heard Sabre-equipped DACs sounding warm and sweet from the likes of Hi-Fi Rose. However, I'm not comparing DACs. Detail retrieval and realism sound great when going through the RME. The Volumio's timing and depth layering is good too. Reverb towers are good, and decay into a dark background. My audio research tube amp is very revealing at picking out bass to mid-range performance, and I could hear slightly better bass rendition from the Volumio. It sounds a little less hard-hitting and forcible and more liquid, but not to the point where it's soft or polite. Bass plucks sound fast and impactful. Between the Eversolo and the Volumio with the Elashanti power supply, I find that the Volumio on most of the test tracks showed it to be a bit more neutral, where music appears to ebb and flow easier and cleaner. The Eversolo is good, has a wide soundstage, but can sound a little forward. These observations, though small, are there and are more obvious through the USB. Both the Eversolo and the Volumio offer very good streaming outputs. In my system, the Volumio sound quality matches most, if not all, the Eversolo has to offer, and in some areas a little better. My guess is the level of engineering offered by the Volumio's onboard power supply filtering, galvanic isolation and precise femtone clock does add up to preserve and present the digital signal to a DAC in a more robust way. Both devices perform very well through the RME, but I kind of got the feeling that the Volumio was asking for a better DAC to show what it could really do. I'd be so interested to hear what the Volumio brings to the table with a higher end DAC costing many times more, with different architectures like R2R types. My conclusion for the Volumio Rivo is it's by far a great product and performs above its asking price. The engineering is exemplary for what's offered and deserves a great DAC, and for the money I haven't been able to find anything out there to compete with it in terms of engineering alone. As of July 2024, new firmware update for the Volumio has been installed to current standards, and I've had no issues with the software performance and reliability. It's simple to use, feel and works flawlessly. Its physical appearance is for the lifestyle hi-fi enthusiasts who wants a product to fit in and complement their stylish, contemporary manner of living without sacrificing engineering or audio quality. I hope you liked the review and thank you for listening. Please comment below if you'd like me to review any of the other products I have here. I'd be more than happy to present in a future video. Thank you.